Chemistry, Unit 3, 3.1. This is video 3 on types of bonds. So you have two primary types of bonds. You have ionic bonds. Ionic bonds are where electrons are lost and gained between atoms. They mainly occur between metals and nonmetals, and they will use the oxidation numbers in order to form their compound. Covalent bonds are your second kind of bond, and this is where the electrons are shared between the atoms. They occur between two nonmetals, and you must be given the number of each element to be used in order to form that bond. For bonding purposes, all elements to the right-hand side of the stairstep are considered non-metal, while all elements on the left-hand side of the stairstep are considered metal. So, ionic bonds have 5 different forms: perfect, crisscross, polyatomic, and transition. This video will talk about perfect and crisscross, and then covalent bonds. So these are examples of perfect ionic compounds. Sodium and chlorine, Na, which is a 1 positive, and Cl, which is a 1 negative, will form NaCl. Potassium and bromine, potassium is a 1 positive, bromine is a 1 negative, they will form KBr. Magnesium and oxygen, Mg2 positive and O2 negative, will form MgO. And calcium and sulfur, calcium is a 2 positive, sulfur is a 2 negative, will form CaS. Hydrogen and oxygen, however, hydrogen has a 1 positive, oxygen has a 2 negative. So these are not perfect because the oxidation numbers do not match. So the oxidations crisscross to become the subscripts. So the 2 on oxygen comes down to be with hydrogen. The 1 on hydrogen goes down to be with oxygen, giving us the formula of H2O. 2 hydrogen are needed to combine with 1 oxygen. Calcium and chlorine is another example. Calcium has an oxidation of 2 positive, chlorine has an oxidation of 1 negative. The 2 from calcium journeys down to go with chlorine, and the 1 from chlorine journeys down to become the 1 for calcium. And the formula will be written CaCl2. 1 calcium is needed to combine with 2 chlorine. Things to notice. In the final answer, if the subscripts match, we leave them off. However, if you were to keep the subscripts, like Mg2O2, where they match, this makes a molecular formula, whereas taking them off makes an empirical formula. Notice that the positive oxidation element always goes first. Also pay very close attention to capital, lowercase, and the placement of subscripts. These are examples for covalent compounds. Remember on covalence that you have to be told the number of atoms to combine. So if you have 1 carbon and 1 oxygen, that makes the formula CO. 1 carbon and 2 oxygen would make CO2. And 1 phosphorus and 3 chlorine would make PCl3.